All right, so we give esteem and honor to the living Alahym in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach today. In John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they was testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Alahym only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Let's pick this up in Psalm 51, man. I'll go straight to verse 6, and then we'll just bounce back to where we was at. Matter of fact, we can pick it up at verse 5, because that's where we stopped at. Matter of fact, you can make it, folk. I don't think I thoroughly explained folk good enough for my taste. Against you only have I sinned and done evil in your sight, that you might be justified when you speak and clear when you judge. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden you shall make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Make me to hear joy and gladness. The bones you have broken may rejoice. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O Alahym, and renew a right ruach within me. So, boom, we got the against you only have I sinned and done evil in your sight. Paul, what is that I desire? One, we'll just start with Matthew 12 to begin with, for that particular part. I believe it was 12. Yeah, 12 is sufficient. 12 and 33. Then I think it's John 12 I need after that, in regard of doing the evil in his sight. Matthew 12 and 33. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt, for the tree is known by its fruit. O generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speak. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bring forth good things. An evil man out of the evil treasure bring forth evil things. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. The only reason why I came to that is because he stated right here in verse 4 that you might be justified when he speaks, not when you speak, when he speaks. Reason why I'm focusing on that, because he said, by your words shall you be justified. So let's take a look at something else. I think it's praise y'all, brother. Let's take a look at what it is. Yeah, I think we read it the other day. I'll do it again. Romans chapter 2. It'll work for now. For as this is Romans 2 and 12. For as many have sinned without the law shall perish without the law. As many have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before Alahym, but the doers of the law shall be justified. Now, see, this is the king. I'm going to ask y'all this question. What do you think he means when he say, by your words, you will be justified? There's a couple passages in Psalms that can help y'all out with that you may not know off the top of your head. But what do you think he means when he says, by your words, will you be justified? I can't do nothing for you, man. Not at this time. Maybe later. No, he didn't say his word. He said, by your words shall you be justified. He said, every idle word that you're going to speak, you're going to give account for. And by your words, you will be justified. What's your problem? You trying to hide over there with your doppelganger? I don't know what that means.
was thinking that if we're all in his body, we should be speaking the same thing. The scripture he says, like, it's not my words that I speak, but the one that sent me.
Oh no, that ain't gonna do it for you, because your answer is in Psalms, and about 5 of them. Your specific direct answer is in Psalms. It's about 5 of them, maybe more. One we just read the other day might have been in Psalms 35, if I'm not mistaken, or it was in Psalms 85. It was in one of them. I'll look and tell you. Yep. It was in Psalms 35.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm thinking too big. He said, all your words will be justified.
The Lord said that every word you say out your mouth, you're going to go before his throne and you're going to give account for every single solitary thing you done ever said out your mouth. You know what I'm talking about? And he say, by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. And there's a spot in Psalms 35 that actually justifies that. Hello. What's up? I gotta get back with the wind in the middle of service. All right. And y'all lock the door. Yeah, so in that Matthew 12, he say every word that come out. See, this is the thing, right? Probably people take that, don't really like. You're just not giving account for stuff you done did. You're gonna give account for stuff you done said out your mouth. Oh, y'all don't recall the verse in Ecclesiastes? Maybe it's Proverbs, if my memory is serving me incorrectly. When he said, if you thought of evil, you know what he told you ought to do? No. Let me go ahead and show you. Y'all look like y'all know what I'm talking about. Proverbs 30, I believe. Might be 31. Matter of fact, I'll add a bonus too with that. It's in Proverbs 30, I believe. Yeah, it is. Proverbs 30, 30 and 32. Proverbs 30 and 32. Yeah, y'all go ahead and hit that like button for me while y'all in there. Proverbs 30 and 32. If you've done foolishly and lifted up yourself, or if you've thought evil, lay your hand upon your mouth. See, there's another one in Ecclesiastes where it talks about if you don't go open your mouth up against the king, keep your mouth shut. But drop down to Proverbs 31, because I'll throw these bonus 2 verses in here while we're there. Open your mouth. This is Proverbs 31 and 8. Open your mouth for the dumb and the cause of all such that are appointed to destruction. Open your mouth and judge righteously and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Now, y'all sit there and you ponder upon verses 8 and 9 while you're thinking about that Matthew 12. I told you where you can find it at. It's in Psalms 35. We just didn't isolate that particular verse when we were in Psalms 35. We have isolated a verse of that sort in the past. He said, by your words, you will be justified. You know what justified is, right?
I got a question. So basically, he's saying whatever we say out your mouth will reflect your actions.
No, he's saying you're going to answer for anything you've ever said out your mouth. Literally. You know what I'm saying? You're going to answer for your words and your deeds. That's a part of him saying that out of the good treasure of a man's heart bring forth good things, and the evil treasure out of man's heart bring forth evil things. That particular aspect what we discussing is something that a majority of people do not impart unto people, that you ought to watch your mouth and what you say out your mouth, because you're going to answer for what you say out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Periodically, I make mention of that, but most people don't really impart that upon people, but you're going to answer for what you say out your mouth. You know what I'm talking about? And I know we ain't talked about it in a long time. Some of y'all wasn't even here, but boy, and it's text for it, it's triply worse if you open your mouth against somebody who is with. You know what I'm talking about? Then you got an even larger problem. Because then you're not talking against that person, you talking against him. Yeah. Say what? It don't matter if it's true or not. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's one of the things where we could get caught up at, well, I was right and you could still be wrong. Sometimes it's best keep your mouth closed. That's why he say you can think evil. It could be true, but it could be from a standpoint of evil at your heart, and it'd been better served for you to keep your mouth closed. Because a lot of people do that whenever they use the truth as a cloak of maliciousness in order to injure. You know what I'm talking about? And it'd be better served, keep your mouth closed. It's in Psalms 35 now. I give you time. I wait till you. Some people do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because some people like to say, I'll give you an example. Somebody be like, you ugly. And you very well could be ugly. You know what I'm talking about? But you weren't saying that they were ugly just as a statement of fact. You were saying that because you were trying to hurt their feelings. But see, churn don't do it from it just be more so. That's I believe that you're ugly, and I'm just saying that from my heart. I don't have really no intent behind it.
What's the difference between saying about a whore and the whore and they
No, this is what is wrong if they are a whore. You could be saying you are a whore, but then it could be coming, you're saying that you're a whore because they did something to you, you're hurt, you're saying it out of maliciousness and spitefulness, not as a statement of fact for correction and betterment. Just for the simple purpose that you're trying to injure this person. You know you're trying to injure this person, and you're hiding behind the fact that it's factual for your actual intent of your heart. Your intent of your heart was to be evil, not to tell the truth. That's the part we don't look at. That's why I told you in the past, you could be in a situation and you could be right and still be wrong. Because you don't look at it and I'm right, but in you being correct, you're injuring, and you're taking you being right is more important than the actual resolving of a matter. Or actually to maintain peace. You said verse 24? No, that's what Alicia said. No, you in the range. I tell you it's on down. It's on down. So it's after 24.
I can see how that can apply the other way around too. Like, because it is truth, but I mean, you supposed to say something like it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Make me feel like because it's the truth, or
I can say it.
It's right. You're supposed to say something.
You know what I'm saying?
That.
That's why there's certain statement, huh?
Is it the last verse?
It is the last verse.
So, the truth, keep your mouth closed. But
That's where your wisdom come in at. You had to sit back, like I mentioned last night, right? I could sit back to you and I can tell you that I see you got 15 different psychological issues. And if I tell you that, I already know what type of reaction that I'm going to get from you, even though everything that I'm telling you is the truth. Was it really beneficial for me to say that? Because I'm not going to get the desired result, which is to assist you. So that means I have to have another way of wisdom and skill to be able to get this information to you. You know what I'm talking about? In order to assist you, because you got to know who you're talking to. You got to know who you're dealing with. You can't deal with everybody the same. You know what I'm talking about? Now, there's also a difference, like she mentioned. Say a nigga you with this woman, you find out she's been with 5 different dudes. You're not calling her a whore as a statement of fact. You're calling her a whore because your feelings are hurt. You want her to feel some level of pain that you feeling on the inside. And you only saying these things as a means to injure. it would have been better served for you to just keep your mouth closed.
So based on the intent of the individual.
It's the intent of your heart of why you saying what you're saying.
They can speak in the truth.
If you telling somebody, hey man, you're obese, and you're telling them that because this is going to negatively affect your health, you know what I'm talking about? It's a different if you just a fat bastard. You fat funky hoe. It's true, but
the intent is not right.
The intent ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to look at. Because the scribes and the Pharisees came with the law. Their intent wasn't right. They went and found that woman, and what did they bring her around there for? They didn't bring her around there for the purpose of correction. They brought her around there to see if he would say they could stone her so they could have something to say against him. She's still dead wrong.
Yeah.
Shalom, man. But their intent was off. So that's why when he came at him and said, which one of you without sin cast the first stone? Because he already knew what their intent was. It wasn't to execute righteousness. It wasn't to be a vanguard for judgment. It wasn't to stand up for justice and righteousness. It was strictly to find something to say about him. See, you got to watch a nigga who always looking for something to say about somebody. That's the work of the devil.
Is it like when Judas had the money, he was like, you could have gave this to the poor.
Yeah, his intent wasn't to give it to the poor. He said that. He said he didn't care nothing about the poor. He wasn't a thief. He didn't care nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Remember what it say that the devil stand before the throne and do all day, every day? Accuse. So when you got a nigga, he nitpicking for something to say against you, that boy, they're working that. That's the operation of the devil. Yahuwah don't operate like that. As much as evil as the scribes and Pharisees was, Yahushua did not walk around looking for something to say against them men. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, y'all niggas doing it. Y'all niggas doing that. See, that's how you know the devil is a hoe. In the literal sense, because that's female. When you looking to say something against somebody, it's forth as the genders operate. Men ain't supposed to operate like that. You know what I'm talking about? Usually you see catty women do that when they upset and they trying to find a means to tear somebody down who they upset with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So then when you see men, that's why when women see men do it, it disgusts them. Because they see a reflection of themselves. They looking at, you ain't supposed to be doing that. That's what I do. You taking my place. Who's gonna wear the panties? Now you got them on. Now I gotta put on boxers. I'm uncomfortable. Where was I going at? Oh, to read Psalms 35.
I think it's too like Mashiach hope like not speaking on all the stuff they were doing, and then it was time he made that stuff before his feet. Telling about how you tired and then he coming. Yeah. He exposed them all at one time. He waited for the right time.
You have to remember this here, man. That man said you got to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. So you got to know what to say and when to say it and how to say it. Sometimes you got to rebuke harshly. Remember Paul said, do you want me to come with a rod or do you want me to come in peace? Because I can correct you nicely or I can bust you upside your head. Same way Yahushua come through and called them boys stupid. You know what I'm saying? See, the time and the place predicated that because they were showing themselves to be stupid. And he was pissed off about that. Why? Because I have taken an inordinate amount of time to give you a particular instruction. You've been walking with me for an inordinate amount of time, and now you acting like this. You know what I'm saying? But more so, when you're dealing with people, you just got to know who you're dealing with, and you got to be able to know time and place, and then your intent of saying what you're saying. Like you could be, y'all women know it a little better. You could know that dress wasn't flattering on that woman, and you'll lie and say it was. You know what I'm talking about? Or if you really got an issue with this woman, you'll say little snide things that may be truthful, but you hoping to pick at her self-esteem so she can feel bad about herself. You know what I'm saying? See, women have that mastered. That's an arena that men don't know nothing about. You know what I'm talking about? Really jugging at somebody. Just what we talking about, what your grandma them doing. See, that was jugging. Let me make you feel bad about yourself. See, y'all black women, so y'all know, if y'all niggas got fat as all outdoors, all the women in your family wouldn't have nothing to say to you. You begin to lose some weight and to be healthy, and they got jokes. They got snide comments. They get real disrespectful. You know what I'm talking about? And they do that as a means to you're improving yourself, and I don't like it. You know what I'm talking about? So therefore, I need to make you feel bad about yourself so you can come back over here with me. You know what I'm talking about? See, for men, it's different. See, with men, when you start to get a little bit of money and you're able to do certain things, that's when a nigga hit you with this here, must be nice. That nigga hate. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? That nigga hate. That nigga mad because he can't do it. Then that's when they go to talking bad about you. Now you lose in it. Nigga act like you supposed to stay in the hood doing hood nigga stuff. That's only in the music business. That's not real life. I don't want to be around here in this cesspool. You know what I'm talking about? I'm supposed to get far away as that from possible. Then they be like, this here nigga get some money, this, that, there. Now he don't fool with a nigga no more. You chose to stay where you want to stay at in life. I'm supposed to stay here with you. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not supposed to stay here with you. This is the stuff that people do, man. You gotta pay attention to that type of stuff. Then a nigga come to you, see you acting funny, and they could have said something could have been totally accurate of how they feel about how y'all relationship operate, but they were really saying it to be able to hurt you, even though it could have been the truth. You got to be careful with that weaponizing the truth, because some people weaponize the truth. And what good is the truth if you're using it as a weapon? The only time you're supposed to use it as a weapon is to slay demons. You know what I'm talking about? When I say demons, unclean spirits with that word, that's the only time that's supposed to be a weapon. Outside of that, sometimes you got to be careful with that, because some niggas use the word as a weapon. They ain't trying to save a soul. Remember what Paul told you? Some people preach Mashiach out of strife, some out of goodwill. He say, either way, my heart rejoices because Mashiach is preached. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay attention to all that, man. We just can't, it's truth, so it don't matter. There's a lot of times I don't want to tell a nigga the truth, and I ain't say nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Like straight up now, like nigga, I end your whole career, and I wouldn't be lying. But what purpose would that serve? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I ain't do it. But don't get me wrong. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, you want to kill a nigga with the truth. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you don't.
But dealing with a smoker, but it takes skill.
Yeah.
You just can't come there.
You know what I'm saying? But Psalms 35 and 28. Appreciate you there, brother, man. My tongue shall speak of your righteousness and of your praise all the day long. So that's the scriptural example of your first answer. Where you can so, boom, we all supposed to have the same word in our mouth. It's not necessarily the group, because you're going to be judged righteous by the words that come out your mouth. And if this man's word is in your heart, abundance of the heart, the mouth speak, out of your good treasure, you're going to bring forth good things. You know what I'm talking about? This is why he say make sure you don't have no evil communication coming out your mouth. Yes, sir.
I'm still stuck on that. So, honest opinion, if I know someone is being fake or living a fake life, and I tell them the truth, I shouldn't keep my mouth shut.
You got to judge the situation and circumstances. Is it and your intent on why? If you telling them for the purpose of their improvement, like, well, you know you living forward. What you got going on? You know what I'm saying? What is you doing? But if you just saying it for the purpose of, I have exposed you, because that's what some niggas like to do. I have exposed you. Basically, that's what the scribes was trying to do with Mashiach. I have exposed you. The intent of your heart was sour. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't really want this person to change. See, when Mashiach pulled they skirt up, they exposed them, it was for them to see, hey, man, what you got going on ain't what to do.
You couldn't really see like you should.
You know what I'm saying? But then you also had instances where Mashiach was like, leave them alone. Blind leaders of the blind. Let them fall in the ditch. So you have to have your discernment, and you got to have your wisdom on point to know, is this even worth me saying something? You know what I'm talking about? Now, if it's somebody you know that's walking in the word, you know, he say, hey, man, don't allow, you know, rebellion to be on your neighbor, but check him. But see, some people only check people for the purpose of, most of y'all know, y'all been interacting with gurus online and in the internet. You know how these niggas be. Oh, this nigga wicked. Oh, he over here doing this here. Just because you just wanted to embarrass this individual. Now, some individuals will get checked and feel like you embarrassed me for checking me, and that's because you just didn't want to get checked. You didn't want nobody to pull your coattail and say, put that hitter down, bro. Why you smoking crack? You ever tried to stop somebody from using drugs? You ever talk to somebody and say, why are you using drugs? Do you understand how defensive they get when you go telling them, son, you got a drug problem? You got an alcohol problem. Nigga don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Then you got some people who come to them. That's why you a crackhead. You done said you same thing that I just said, but your intent was to injure. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, that's why you a crackhead, basehead nigga. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes niggas make you want to talk to them like that. You know what I'm saying? You crackhead nigga, man. You know what I'm talking about? That's why you ain't never got no money. Buying hitters every day. Put your pipe down. I got 20, you won't stop smoking. That's when he say, if you think evil, put your hand upon your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Basically, evil by definition is raw, which is what? Disagreeable. So if you know you're finna say something that's gonna be disagreeable, just don't say it. You know what I'm talking about? Just keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you know that what you're saying is gonna be for the, because see, this is what a lot of people don't like. In order to build something, you have to destroy the present structure. That's why he said, what? Destroy this temple, I build it back in 3 days. Most people don't want to destroy their present structure in order to be built back in a better fashion. So they don't want to be told. Like I mentioned last night, dude just said this here, some psychiatrists do, but we already know this here. A man who is raised by a man is in a much better place than a young man who was raised by a woman. It's undeniable. They did studies on it. Y'all don't care. Nobody cares about your opinion, what you think, what you thought your mama did, none of that there. You are at an express disadvantage if you were raised by a woman solely and not raised by a man. You're at express disadvantage. You know what I'm talking about? There is things that woman can never give you to allow you to compete with other men. It's utterly impossible. She has no idea what it takes to compete with another man. She has no idea what it means to interact with another man. She has no idea what it means to dominate in a field of men. She has no idea what it means to be a great man. You know what I'm talking about? How do we know this? Because if she knew, she would have procreated with a great man and she wouldn't be by herself raising you. You know what I'm talking about? So you're at a disadvantage. So when you turn around with that, you're going to come in and you're going to have certain viewpoints and perspectives of the world that's not going to be beneficial to you. Then you got to unlearn all of that. We didn't already had that conversation. If you are a man who was raised by your mama and you ended up succeeding, you did that in spite of your mother, not because of her. You know what I'm saying? She had no hand, no role, no nothing in that. You just been told that because that's what they feed you in society. Mama did this, mama did that. Mama didn't prepare you for nothing. Not to go out here and dominate and compete with other men. Reason why I mention that, because what do you have with most young men now? They coddle, they soft, they cry. They want somebody to make them feel good about being an abject failure. They want them to make you feel good about being less than a man, of not being competitive, of not operating, not seeking to excel, any of these things. You know why? Because your mama going to come hug you and tell you what? It's okay, baby. You my baby. You fine just how you are. No, you're not, nigga. You suck. You know what I'm talking about? You absolutely suck. Because that's what your daddy gonna tell you. Son, you suck. Now the difference is, if your daddy a man, he gonna tell you suck and then explain to you why you suck and then how you can improve. You know what I'm talking about? Son, you suck at this. Let me show you how the proper way to do this so you can actually excel. Because that's what your daddy did. If you don't realize that the master came down here in the flesh and looked you in your face and told you you suck. You know what I'm talking about? Now let me show you why you suck and how you can correct that. See, if you ain't used to dealing with no man, that's a foreign concept to you, because your daddy not going to talk to you like your mama going to talk to you. Mama going to baby you, or she going to be overly emotional and scream and yell. It's nothing even going to be constructive coming from your mama. Your mama's not going to go off on you and then but tell you what you did wrong and how you can fix it. She's just agitated and aggravated that you've done something that she doesn't like. That's not beneficial for a young man. That's destructive. It ends up emasculating him and causes him to grow up to be a beta male sent mangina, sitting back looking at being subservient to a woman or being accustomed to a woman yelling at him or talking to him any kind of way. So when he grow up, he take that and think that that's how a woman's supposed to treat him, or he resents his mother for doing him like that. So then he begins to snap and get argumentative and aggressive with women because he really mad with his mom. He want to take the aggression he had for his mama out on the women he dealing with. You know what I'm talking about? See, Bruce don't want to talk about stuff like this here because you upset that your mama really messed you up in the head. Or you mad because your daddy wasn't there. Now you mad with the world, want somebody to feel sorry for you. You got grown men in their 30s talking about my daddy wasn't there. Nigga, nobody don't care. Nigga, you 30-some years old, bro. You supposed to been got over that. I just heard this old dude say this here, man, this the truth. When you harboring bitterness, all you doing is injuring yourself, and then you trying to hope that the person you got bitterness against is going to end up being mad like you are by transmosis. That you can pass your bitterness off to them. That's a sad way of living. Sad way of living. Also, it come down to what they was just talking about. This. I don't know if y'all seen the clip when Wallow was talking to Drake, Lil Durk, and he was telling him how he had to forget a nigga that killed his brother. Mm-hmm. What he was talking about, this something I've mentioned to y'all before, and this is a fact. A lot of niggas get killed because a lot of dudes don't know how to sit down and have no conversation. A lot of stuff don't even really be that deep. You know what I'm saying? All of us know it's a lot of niggas been killed for absolutely nothing. For stuff that could have been handled simply with a conversation. But niggas is too emotional, not being raised by men, and don't know how to sit down and have a conversation. And even if they disagree, be able to sit down to work it out so they can come to an amicable agreement and niggas can keep their lives. But since you don't know how to do that, see, your mama can't teach you how to do that. Your daddy got to teach you how to do that, to be able to converse with another man when y'all have opposing points of view and it don't fall down into violence.
I was thinking like in movie, like, you know, the mafias, they'll sit down at the table
and have a conversation
against their rivals and be like, hey, man, this is how we got to handle this. You know, squash it like this and handle it like that. And go their separate ways.
Go their separate ways like men. A lot of stuff really be misunderstandings. A lot of stuff really don't be that deep. If a nigga ain't touched a child or killed somebody in your family, most of the stuff that dudes be angry with each other about ain't even that serious. All it comes from is to be able to just to sit down and have a conversation. A lot of stuff can be avoided. You got people walking around with 10, 15-year grudges with stuff that could have been dealt with by having a conversation. You know what I'm saying? You got young men in the grave about stuff that y'all really could have talked this out. This really wasn't that serious. But when you got two emotional, when you take a man and he has the mind of a woman, and you take that brute force and aggressiveness and mix it with a high level of emotionalism, that's a combustible mix. See, y'all can have that high level of emotionalism, but you don't have the brute force and aggressiveness. You know what I'm saying? You take a man, I'm angry, he can hurt someone. You know what I'm talking about? And that sounds different. Because y'all gonna get angry, y'all ain't gonna think, I'm gonna kill this nigga. I'm gonna kill this hoe. That's not one of the thoughts that come in your brain. Man get emotional and he get angry enough. He see blood, he wants somebody to die. Then when he calmed down, then he realized, I done ruined my life. You know what I'm talking about? This wasn't even this serious to the point that I done took somebody's life. I'm finna go to jail for the rest of my life. And for what?
I got a question too. But another answer to what you asking, is it like he was saying something like his tongue was like a running pen or something like that?
No, it's a little different, but it's that if this man righteousness is what you speak of, that's how you're going to be justified. Because remember, you say by your words, you're going to be condemned. See, let's go over here to 1 John chapter 4. First John 4 and 4. Renee, what y'all over there talking about? If you're eating your snacks, you need to eat your snacks. If you ain't eating your snacks, you need to get up and go on about your business. That goes for Renee. That goes for Tubby Man, Eugene, Lodell, Joseph, and Christian. Because that's everybody who I can see that's over there. I didn't really ask you for a response. I don't care to hear what you have to say. First John 4 and 4. You are of Alahym, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world hear them. We are of Alahym. He that know Alahym hear us. He that is not of Alahym hear not us. Hereby we know the ruach of truth and the ruach of error. How do y'all remember this one here? Right? The verses. Remember what it is in John 8, what he said? He said, you don't comprehend my words because you're not of Alahym. He that is of Alahym hears us. You know what I'm talking about? So when you come at it, the person who's going to be condemned, they're going to speak of the world. They're going to speak words of their own heart. He who that speaks that's going to be justified, the word of Alahym is in his heart. And as you've seen in Psalms 35, I'm going to speak of your righteousness and your praise all the day. Because the word of Yahuwah is what's going to be coming out of your mouth. Even if you not expressly speaking the word of Yahuwah, his word will still come out of your mouth based off the conversations that you have on the information that you try to impart to other people. It would be rooted in his principles. You know what I'm saying? It would be rooted in his principles. A lot of men don't want to be rooted in Yahuwah's principles because it's not his word does not allow you to be average. When I say average, just to be regular or be content. We're not talking about doing anything on the natural side of life. We're not talking about no occupations. We ain't talking about no resources. His word commands that you would have to be a great man because he is a great man. So you would have to be one if you were actually going to hold his word. It demands that. See, like I mentioned the other night, it's the same as a woman who's not accustomed to being with a producer. You know what I'm saying? If you with somebody who is operating on a high level, he has extreme demands of his wife. A lot of women say they want a rich man because in their mind, they think they just going to be laid up somewhere, vacation, chilling, and they have no idea for the life that they're about to sign up for because that is not the life of a woman who is married to a man who makes a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? In general. That's TV stuff. That's not real life. Them women doing something. Them men got demands because they have such great demands of themselves that they make great demands of everyone around them. You know what I'm talking about? That's what it is. It ain't just the woman. They got demands of their children. They got demands of their friends. They got demands of their partners. They got demands of their employees. They're demanding greatness from everyone around them because they demand it from themselves. And some people can't handle that. So that's why she'll slide and go to a lesser man because he's not going to have those same level of demands. That pressure is off of her shoulders because she didn't want it. Like I told you last night, that's why people walk away from Yahuwah. That man got demands. Now, can you imagine actually being in Yahushua's presence and understanding the level of greatness that he's going to demand because he was demanding it of himself? This man looked at you in the face and said, what? Take up your stake and do what? Follow me. The same stake he asking you to carry, he already carrying it. The things that he asking of you, he's asking of himself. So that's a demand of greatness when you come in his presence. You know what I'm talking about? And some people, when they come to that, I don't want nothing to do with that. That's too much. You know what I'm saying? That's too much. You mean it's work I got to do? It's labor I got to do. It's tasks I got to complete. I don't want to do that. I want an easy life. I thought I was supposed to come to you and I just supposed to sit back and get all these riches and all or whatever people have in their mind. No, that man got demands. But like I said, he's not demanding of you of anything that he's not demanding of himself. The same way when we talk about that parable of the rich man, what he was demanding of the rich man, he had already done that himself. He had already forsaken all his riches and everything he had to go preach the gospel. He had already done that. So he wasn't asking this man to do something that I had not already had done. I can demand that of you if I've done it. See, what a lot of men in this society want to do is you want to demand stuff of people and you haven't done it. And then you want your lack of production and your demands to be cloaked that people are supposed to love you and hug you and coddle you and make you feel good about yourself when you in reality, you're a lesser man. Because let's not get it twisted. All men aren't equal. You don't even read that in the word. All men aren't equal. He say you all brothers. But all men, where can you read where you can see that all men aren't equal? It's new or old. It don't make a difference. There it is. He wasn't equal to it. And what that made his brothers do? Be envious. Anybody else? Stank Pot. Come here, Stank Pot. Oh, thank you very much.
Texas 18 with the captains. Some was over more.
Yeah, they weren't equal. Take this to your father.
I see behind the bed. He said his shoes. I can't let you.
That's a fact. Indeed. You don't remember when he talked about the gifts of the ruach in 1 Corinthians 12? Or some apostles? Or some evangelists? Them men ain't equal. You know what I'm talking about? There's no such thing as everybody being equal. That's a trope that's in the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Yahuwah never said everybody was equal. He said you were brethren. There are men who will be greater in power. There's men that Yahuwah loves more than others. You know what I'm talking about? We had that conversation before. Be like, you can't have a favorite child. Shoot, that's man talk. Because Yahushua definitely had an apostle he loved more than the rest of them. And when it came down to doing the work, he saw Peter best out of all of them. You know what I'm talking about? Look at him. Where we need to go at? We good with that. Let's come back to Psalms 51. You said vacation. No, not at all. There's whiskey and amber in that. No, you can keep that. That's whiskey and Irish, man. Y'all make it weird. Now, when he say being clear and when he judges in verse 4 of Psalm 51, I didn't get to John 12 yet, that when he speaks, when he justifies. Being clear is to be clean, to be pure, to make clean, to make pure. That is zakah. So let's turn around. Let's get Matthew 7 so you can see that he's clear when he justifies, when he judges, excuse me. Matthew 7:1, your eye feel better? Oh, it is? Hold on, let me put it back. You sure? Ooh, I wasn't going to punch your eye. I just said, let me put it back. Oh, it's gone. They took it on Wednesday. What they did with it? They put it in the bag and gave it to you? Oh, I thought you might want to keep it. Oh, Matt? I understand. It's annoying. You don't like it? Okay, man. Matthew 7:1. I thought you was a 3-year-old baby. No, you acting like a 3-year-old baby. Matthew 7:1. Judge not that you be not judged. For what judgment you judge, you shall be judged, and what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you again. Why behold the mote that is in your brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in your own eye? Or will you say to your brother, let me pull the mote that is out of your eye, and behold the beam in your own eye? You hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of your own eye, then you shall see clearly to cast the mote out of your brother's eye. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2. We're just dealing with this aspect is because when Yahuwah judges, he can be clear because he's clean and pure from sin. Therefore, he can be clear when he judges. He can be justified when he speaks. First Corinthians chapter 2. You can pick it up at verse 11. First Corinthians 2:11. For what man know the things of a man, save the ruach of the man which is in him? Even so the things of Alahym know no man but the ruach of Alahym. Now we have received not the ruach of the world, but the ruach which is of Alahym, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Alahym. This again goes back to the point that you can be justified when you speak. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man wisdom teach, but which the Ruach HaKadosh teach, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. See, that's the thing, that's the thing they got at her now. You got these women, right? They say, I'm spiritual, and she playing with rocks. What's the little bowl they like to run the little thing around? You got niggas ain't never been to Southeast Asia, East Asia, North Asia, none of that. Now all of a sudden they Buddhists and Taoists and all this other stuff want to hit the little bowl and do the little vibrations and all that stuff. Nigga call themselves, they want to burn sage. Niggas around here talking about some chakras. I seen a nigga, we all got chakras. You's a damn fool if you rock with that. You who ain't told you nothing about no wheels of light spinning in your body. Y'all familiar with what chakras are, aren't you? If you are, I understand. Some of you may have not read such things. You know what a chakra is? No, I'm talking about, do you really know what they is? You know how many they say you got? Oh, you got friends on that, don't you? Yeah, you got some. You got some friends be like this. Girl, I had to send them my sacral chakra. Freak hoes be talking about I had to get my throat chakra right. I bet you did. No, that's what they got. They got the chakra at the base of their spine. You know what I'm talking about?
It's in my back.
It's in my back. That's where they feel the heat at in their back. That would an unclean spirit mount them at. You know what I'm talking about? They do.
Because Hebrew Israelites Israel.
Now, some of them don't even get that far. They'll be like, how you know you an Israelite? Y'all believe in that fairy tale? Them people ain't real. See, Jacob, brother, it's metaphysical. See, it's about the bones in your metatarsal. That's what they get. I told you, I read a book on that time I was out the road, man. God, man, word made flesh. The biggest bunch of monkey crap I ever read in my life. I wasn't on no word, and I knew that junk was stupid. You know what I'm talking about? They want you to believe every story in the Bible is really an allegory for man's central nervous system. Yeah, I forget all this. I know they got you got to get your solar plexus shot. Niggas really believe in that junk. I got to get my chakra centered. You don't need to get your chakra centered. Niggas, something wrong with you in your brain. That's what's wrong with you. See, you down here dealing with your root chakra, brother. See, you need to elevate. That's how they talk. But you know why? Ain't no demands on you with no root chakras and no throat chakra. Them gods ain't demanding nothing of you. You can float around. See, guess what, man? As a man, right? You know, you got a lot of women who say this here. As a man, you a damn fool if you marry a woman who a free spirit. That's what a lot of people want to be, is a free spirit. Free to move and go and do whatever they wish. You don't want to be no free spirit. If you wasn't horn, you wasn't no free spirit. That's what a free spirit is, hope. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because that's really what they mean when they say I'm a free spirit. I'm a free hope. You can have me for little or nothing. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just being honest with you. In my personal experience, every woman I met who was a free spirit, she was a whore. Because free spirits like to just get up and do anything at any time, anywhere, with anybody. Especially if you're doing something with your life. Because a person who's free spirit don't want no rules. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to come and go as I please. Don't restrain me. You're hampering my creativity, Mom. That's what that is. That's what you hear the white folks say. You got to let that child be a free spirit. The hell you say? Next thing you know, I'm coming to hear this nigga huffing paint. Some of y'all used to hang with white boys who huff paint. You ain't never hang with no white boys that huff some paint. I knew a couple. They huffed everything under the same. You know what I'm talking about? I'm from a time when niggas used to huff Freon. You understand me? I'm dead serious. That's why they ain't got Freon in them outside AC units like that no more, man. Them niggas used to pop them holes open. Like this here, them niggas would hallucinate. Nigga, this was in the 90s, nigga. In the 80s, I was a boy. In the 70s, I didn't exist. Nigga, I may have not even been created in my father's scrotum at that time. But nah, man, there was a time, man, anything aerosol, them niggas would get that junk, them niggas spray that junk, and they'll huff it, mainly huff paint. I was born in 1980.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
80. I was a boy. I wasn't even born. Shoot, when them niggas came out, I might have still, at this juncture of 1980, I was still in my mother's womb. Yeah, I still had about 3-4 more months to go. No, I wasn't born yet. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, in the 90s, man, yeah, them niggas used to huff, man. That was a thing. Shoot, Darius is clearly nobody. Niggas used to huff. Man, people used to get high. They wanted to get high on anything. I mean, there's no need to talk now. Niggas going to the niggas smoking flocka. Shoot, nigga, that damn near bad as huffing. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas don't even know what that is. Niggas is smoking new age bath salts. These niggas on fentanyl out here, man. Man, I'll never forget when I was selling dope. This white dude rolled up to me, man. I'm walking up, just popped my man's off. He like, man, I ran out of my Oxycontin prescription. I don't know what to do. This 2001. These niggas been on this junk. I'm like, nigga, I don't sell prescription pills, brother. I only got crack. I can't help. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man. It's hard life out here, man. Verse 13, 1 Corinthians 2. It's hard life out here, man. But see, all jokes aside, though, a lot of people who get on drugs, it's a reason why most people ain't druggies. Most people dealing with mental and psychological issues, and they using drugs to cover that up. Some people use sex to cover that up. Some people use food to cover that up. You know what I'm saying? Some people use shopping to cover that up. Some people use false gods to cover that up. You know what I'm talking about? You got people in extreme emotional and mental distress and want to lead people at that. You got grown men who got mental and emotional distress and want to be somebody's leader. I'd rather smoke crack than follow some of these niggas. Well, I mean that. I seen some people function good on crack. You know what I'm talking about? And following a mentally and an emotionally distressed man, you might as well smoke crack. You live in the same type of life. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, a lot of them don't. I know a couple people been smoking crack for a long time. I'm talking about 20 plus years, man, in the game. Yeah, niggas. I know 7.
You probably don't know that. That's right. I know anybody else. I don't think so.
Nigga don't matter. Coke, crack, it's all the same. Man, let me tell you that about cocaine, man. It's just like them eggs in the refrigerator. I don't care if you scramble it, boil it, poach it. I don't care what you do with it. It's still an egg. Cocaine is cocaine. Cocaine is cocaine. But I know several, man. Get up, go to work every day, man. You know what I'm talking about? Don't sell all their stuff. Ain't out here selling no booty. Don't do none of that. Smoke they crack, go home. Y'all done went to doctors who smoke crack. You ain't know it. Y'all watched Tim Deegan on the weather. For years, that man been smoking crack. You know what I'm talking about? Allegedly. I know he got caught for it.
You seen Matt Jones for the channel bars. Why they catch you killing bars?
I know that, for that ain't no allegedly. I was out there. I seen it. That nigga used to cop dope and whispering poems, nigga, in my neighborhood. I was out there. I seen it. You know what I'm talking about? Now that one there, I ain't telling you what a nigga told me, but I seen that nigga coming right out the crack house. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas was popping him off. No, I can't put no allegedly on that. I seen that. Man, that man been out there for smoking crack. That man ain't changed. Right up and down, man. Right off on Atlantic Boulevard, nigga, by the racetrack. Right before you get on doggone the Hard Bridge, nigga. We was out there every day, nigga. 1999, boy. We used to see that nigga out there, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Who? Well, we used to see Freddie T coming through all the time, copping beans, nigga. Nigga knocking them hoes down. That's what they called him back then. You know what I'm saying? And I had a homegirl used to fool with him. Shoot. They used to tell them story. I'm like, that's the nigga business. One thing about it, more money, more drugs. If you like drugs, shoot, they got something for you. This Jacksonville, man. You think them niggas in the NFL really ain't getting high? 2 and 13, man, 1 Corinthians. Hey, man, stop stomping on my floor before I stomp on your butt. And those calls, 11 and a half, finna crash. Uh-oh, your daddy gonna whoop you. You get a new haircut, that's how you act. First Corinthians 2 and 13. Which things also, you already read that. Verse 14. But the natural man receive not the things of the ruach Alahym, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know, because they are spiritually discerned. This is something that we done discussed before. Let me tell y'all something, right? Some of y'all familiar with Psalms 92? Somebody get Psalms 92 and 8 and read it out loud. Whoever want to put it in the chat, if you could be so kind. Psalms 92 and 8. Little Muffin. Hey. Hey. Hey, Little Muffin. 92 and 8.
It said, but you who are most high forevermore, for lo thy enemies, for lo thy enemies shall perish, all the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. For my horn shall exalt like the horn of a unicorn, and I shall be anointed with fresh oil.
My bad, it's verse 6, not 8. No, I was wrong. It's verse 6. That's funny to you?
It says, a brutish man knoweth not, neither does a fool understand.
Pause. Y'all know what brutish translates to in Hebrew? Look it up for him. Tell him what it says.
It says stupid.
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 I'm not making it up. It say stupid. He said a stupid man knows not, and neither does he understand. So he tell you, when you are a natural man compared to what's in heaven, you stupid. See, I'm mentioning these things right this here, right? Because see, there's a difference, right? See, there's a difference when your daddy call you stupid versus your mama calling you stupid. You say, that's right, huh? Because when your mama say you stupid, she say it with a lot of emotion and bristles. Stings you right here in your chest. You might go in the back and cry. You know what I'm talking about? When your daddy call you stupid, you go to thinking yourself, am I stupid? You go to assessing your decision making and what you did. You don't get in your feelings when your daddy call you stupid. You begin to examine. That was stupid, boy. What was you thinking about? Then you go to automatic. Well, I thought if I did, damn, I am stupid. You know what I'm talking about? And you correct your behavior. Is this 100% accurate? No. You know what I'm talking about? Now just imagine you who are looking you in your face and telling you that you're brutal. Why is that important? Because in this 1 Corinthians 2, he said a natural man cannot receive the things that come from the ruach of Alahym because they foolishness to him. So if they foolishness to him, what does that mean? It don't make any sense to him. So therefore, he doesn't get to know them because he doesn't have spiritual perception. See, it's a lot of dudes, you know what I'm talking about, who want to talk about the word, but they really don't have it. Because you're a natural man. This man will never give you the deep things of Alahym. He never gonna give it to you because you stupid. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Bruce. You can't be calling people stupid. I call you whatever I want to call you. If you stupid, nigga, you stupid. Especially if you're displaying stupidity. To see, that's when that we were talking about earlier about your what's the word? Discernment. Because there was times when the scribes and Pharisees were stupid, and Yahushua just sat there and didn't let them talk. And let them be stupid. And then there were times they were talking stupid, and he bashed their whole head in. And what that is? Correct the fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to hold your peace unless you be like unto him. Because sometimes you got to look at, if I say something to this person and there's a group of people who see this, they're going to think I'm stupid, just like him for engaging this jackass in conversation. And see, that's where your wisdom come in at. That's where your skill come in at. And say, you know what? I'm not correcting this nigga. This nigga's a dummy. And then there's times where you got to go ahead and give him what he's looking for. You know what I'm talking about? Now that's wisdom there, right? That's something that nobody can help you with. You have to have wisdom, and you got to know when and how to apply it. You know what I'm saying? Verse 15. But he that is spiritual judge all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. For who have had the mind of the Lord, that he might instruct him, but we have the mind of Mashiach. That goes back to what you see in Matthew 7, which he's talking about being clear when he judged. Because if you're a spiritual, if you receive the ruach, nobody can't judge you because you're not doing anything to be judged by. So that's why they did the things what they were doing. See, pause. Let's look back and look at it, right? Look at Yahushua himself. His life is an example of what I'm talking about. It said they went to get what? False witnesses against him, right? And couldn't find any. Now, there were many times when Yahushua judged them, and his judgment was what? It was just. But when they tried to judge him, they couldn't judge him. They couldn't judge him. They didn't have it. They weren't clear in their judgment because they weren't pure and clean in their own heart. That goes back to the passage in John that we mentioned. Let's go take a look at it. John 8, if you would, I believe. Is it John 8? 8-1, if you would. Shalom, Brother Craig. Yeah. They done pop for you. I know y'all don't do that over there, man. It's all good, man. It's all good, man. Praise Yahuwah for being able to make it regard. See, Brother Craig over there in Europe, he was like, man, I'm an hour behind. I forgot y'all spring forward. See, they don't do that everywhere. But I did see they trying to pass legislation to get away, not do that next year. That this would be the. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he said next week it changes for them. You know, everybody, everywhere in the world different. I seen the brother say, how can we all keep the Sabbath? We ain't in the land. Man, that junk don't make no difference. You can keep that Sabbath wherever you at. Everybody, like everybody supposed to be on one accord at the same time. You is on one accord. You keeping the Sabbath when you supposed to keep. The sun ain't up everywhere, and the sun ain't down everywhere at the same time.
You look for everybody to get on one accord. You're gonna be on one accord. You're gonna be in the place you're supposed to be one accord. People who you around. You can't be in one accord the whole damn world.
I bet he ain't had no response for that.
Oh yeah.
How could he? How can he? Like they said, how you gonna be one accord with everybody on the whole earth when it's daylight in some places and nighttime and up? Straight up. And this ain't no flat around earth type of conversation. Guess what? If you in the UK, it's a different time than it is over here. You know what I'm talking about? You go to Africa, it's a different time over there than it is in Asia. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody, that stuff different. Hell, it's a different time in California right now. Nigga, you could literally leave here if you had a fast enough jet. It'd be dark over here and go over there and it's still daylight. Every one of y'all done watch the West Coast doggone night football game and the sun out and it's pitch black over here. You know what I'm talking about? So I guess the Sabbath end for them. What if there was no TV, no internet, no nothing? They just looking outside, shoot, sun ain't down, Sabbath still down. That's what I mean when I tell you, brutish, knoweth nothing. That's why they can't do nothing. That's a point of what I'm talking about. Why you have certain individuals that can only discuss the same topic. You know what I'm saying? Sad state of affairs. John 8:1. Yahushua went unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple. All the people came unto him and sat down, and he taught them. The scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. When they set her in the midst, they said unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law command us that such should be stoned. What say you? You see their intent? Because if they cared about the law, they just would have stoned her. They wouldn't even brought her. But look at what they hit him with. What you say? Now guess what? They were right. She's supposed to have been stoned. But the intent of their heart wasn't about that woman. It was to find something to say against him. That's whole stuff. They said, tempting him, and of course they're going to tell you that they might have to accuse him. But Yahushua stooped down with finger, wrote on the ground, and then they just, as they heard them not, but clearly if he writing on the ground, he ain't listening to him. So when they continued asking him, that's the worst part. He ignored them, and they kept pressing it. He lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which heard, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last, and Yahushua was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Yahushua had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are your accusers? No man have condemned you? She said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. Who remembers the psalm that points to this? Who remembers the psalm that points to this? The passage. Does anyone remember?
Psalms 90, or if he could mark iniquity, who could stand?
That's the one. That's the one. If he was to mark iniquity, who would stand? And guess what you seen? He marked iniquity, nobody stood. He said, who would mark iniquity? If he marked iniquity, who would stand? Therefore, there is forgiveness with him. But you see the point that it is? They couldn't condemn him. They couldn't judge him or that woman because they weren't clean or pure. He could. That's why he told him, if you without sin, you go ahead and judge it in. Let's come back to Psalm 51. What they doing to that baby? What they doing to that baby?
And also be Jeremiah 31.
Which one?
Sin no more.
To sin no more? Oh, you talking about his forfeit when he tell you that he won't remember your sins? You say that. Because that's what he told you. You got an opportunity for forgiveness. See, that's what this is right here. Let's look at 1 John chapter 2. I give you that one now in regards to that. 1 John 2:1. First John 2:1. My little children, these things write unto you that you sin not. If any man sin, we have an advocate with Abba, Yahushua HaMashiach, the righteous. You see how he was an advocate for that woman? He advocated for that woman. He is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the whole world. Hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his instructions. He that say, I know him and keep not his instructions is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Whoso keep his word, in him truly is the love of Alahym perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. See, this is the thing, too, because you may have been on this lately. This is what a lot of niggas like to do. A lot of niggas will say, this man say, if you keep his word, right? What's the simplest way that you can keep his word? It's forth is how the master instructed you. The simplest way. The master gave you instruction. I give you a cheat code. It's in Mark chapter 12. In the simplest way to keep his word. Little muffin. Y'all go through Mark chapter 12. Tell me what you see, which is the simplest way to keep his word. Because he said if you keep his word, the love of Alahym is going to be perfected. So Mark chapter 12, I allow you to cheat. You ain't even got to go look for it. Just go through Mark 12 and tell me what you see that'll allow you to keep this man's word in the simplest way possible. But you forgot the greatest commandment before that. Love Yahuwah, your Alahym, with all your mind, all your heart, and all your soul, and all your strength. And love your... But see, you know what a lot of brews like to do? This is what a lot of brews like to do. Because, you know, your man did this a few years back. They love to talk about, you got to love. Don't even love Yahuwah, so you can't love me. Remember I mentioned last night? See, I mentioned this last night because it's a passage in Proverbs for it, right? It's forth is... I'm trying to think where it's at. Give me a moment while it comes to my brain. I think it's in Proverbs 18. But it's forth as there being a quarrel. But the love would supersede the quarrel. You understand? Y'all remember what it was saying in Micah chapter 6 that Yahuwah had a controversy with who? He said he had a controversy with his people. He said, come plead with me. Tell me what I done wrong. He had a controversy, meaning he got a strife, he got a contention with you. The contention is you've broken his covenant. But the love that he had for you, because of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he didn't allow that quarrel to supersede that love. He didn't allow that to happen. You know what I'm talking about? See, a lot of brews like to talk about loving each other, but they don't even love Yahuwah. Let me tell you something real, man. You can't love Yahuwah if you don't love yourself. Do you know why you can't love Yahuwah if you don't love yourself? And it's a scriptural answer for it, believe it or not. Because you made in his image. So if you don't love you, you can't love him. Because you made in his image and his likeness. If you don't love you, you can't love him. Because when you see him, and your hatred for him manifests in the hatred you have for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Or the hatred you have for yourself ends up coming out towards him, I should say. Because you start taking that resentment out on him because you don't love and like yourself. You know what I'm talking about? So then if you don't love and like yourself and you in the image of Alahym and you see somebody else in the image of Alahym, you're not going to love them either. See, a lot of people got love misconstrued. See, love is not going along with everything you want. Most people, I've been told you this before. That's why most people going to go to hell. Most people don't know what love is. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to be able to receive it when it comes. Especially, most of us ain't been loved by a strong man. So you ain't even going to know what that's like when you who will come with it. Because people think that the Lord would just walk around hugging niggas. You know what I'm talking about? Patting you on your back. Hey, brother. All that's how people believe till you read about it. That's how you look. Hey, brother, how are you? Come give me hugs. That's how, you know what people do? They take the white image of him through the text and just make it black and think that he behaved that way. Then you got the bruise, who some of them, they go the extreme way and just think that he was just this hard, rude, disrespectful individual. This man was loving, compassionate, and merciful, but he was very stern, he was very rigorous, and he was unbending. And he was very direct, and he will tell you about yourself dead to your face. You know what I'm saying? I have no care or regard for your feelings if he had to check you. Remember what he described himself in Luke. Y'all remember how he described himself? An austere man. That's rigorously self-disciplined and uncompromising and extremely strict. Every woman that I've ever met that was raised in a strict household rebelled. And you know what they ended up happening as they got older? They realized that they should not have rebelled. You know what I'm talking about? Because they took themselves through a very hard life that they didn't have to go through. You know what I'm talking about? All of them had the same test. Now, of course, I don't have a large case study. You know what I'm talking about? But every woman I ever met who was raised in a strict household rebelled. That's what you see with Yasharal. You in a strict household and rebel. Because 9 times out of 10, when you raised in a strict household, your father give you everything that you can desire. Everything that you need. You ain't lacking for nothing. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't finna be strict and then have you lacking. Yeah, he's strict, but you ain't want for nothing. You ain't concerned with nothing. You ain't going without nothing. This is what he do, saying, I'm giving you all this here. I need compliance. And you thinking you being restricted and you missing out on stuff, and then you run out here in the world and feel like you got to experience all these things and take yourself through unnecessary pain. All to turn up and realize my daddy was right the whole time. Now you stupid. See, that's how you run across girls who've been ran through, got babies from 2-3 different dudes, talking about she looking for love and this, that, there, and the third. I had a homegirl, I told her, she said, I want the marriage my mama and daddy got. I said, in order to get a man like your daddy, you got to be a woman like your mama. And you ain't a woman like your mama, so you ain't going to get a man like your daddy. Because a man like your daddy not going to pick you based on how you behave. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, she's a child, so she has no idea how her parents actually interact. But she's saying they got a particular role. I say, your mama, I say, would your mama argue with men online? She said no. I say, then why you doing it? You know what I'm saying? Because you say you want a man, you want a marriage like your parents, and you're 30 years old. So in order to get a man like your mama, you got to be a woman like your mama. It's no different that if you want a particular type of, if your daddy was a particular type of dude and he had a particular type of woman, you would have to be a man like your daddy to get a woman like that. But see, I'm mentioning that because what did Yasharal do? They rebelled. Why did they rebel? Because of the strictness. Come on, man. What did Yahuwah say about you in Deuteronomy 6, if I'm not mistaken? That man say, you have been disobeyed and sour since I known you. Man, we done had this conversation. How many times do I mention Ezekiel 16? This man called you a whore to your face. A dumb hoe at that. And these niggas around here talking about, people talking back, well, niggas couldn't deal with Yahuwah if he checked them, man. They couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. Can you imagine if your daddy coming and tell you and look you in your face and say, Kalisha, you a dumb hoe. And then, but before he told you you was a dumb hoe, he gave all your actions that you had done and then told you was dumb. He just didn't come and say in Ezekiel 16, you a dumb hoe. He ran down everything that he did for you since he first had you, since the day you were born. I found you in your blood. Nobody saw you enough to swaddle you. Nobody washed you. I saw you in your blood and I said, live. Nobody loved you enough to do this. I did it. Then, like this here, right? I gave you the best of garments. I gave you jewels. I gave you all of these things. You open your feet to everybody that passed by. You did this, that, the third. Then before he got all of that, he said, you gave your gifts to all your lovers and got nothing in return. He said, oh, you are contrary. You can't say nothing about that. But you know what the emotional individual going to focus on? He called me a dumb hoe. Not everything that came before that to justify why he called you that. Because based off of your body of work, you are a dumb hoe. You know what I'm talking about? You see, there's a difference. You talking about you a dumb hoe. Well, why you say that, Daddy? Because you a dumb hoe. See, now you wrong. And she might have been a dumb hoe, but where's your proof? You know what I'm talking about? Where's your proof? That's the point of what I'm talking about. You just said that to hurt her feelings.
A lot of people do stuff because niggas be telling them not to do it instead of telling them why they shouldn't do it. You like this because of this, that, and the third. Instead of just telling them,
Because they're straight up. Y'all know I done went off on a couple niggas, but before I went off on them, I told them why. I ran it down. This is why I said that. You stupid. Let me tell you why. I done told you. So when you come back and you did it, you stupid. Don't talk to me no more. Glover, remember? This is the funniest Glover ever had me dying laughing in my life. I told that girl. I said, that boy ain't on that word now. Don't go up there and marry that man. Leave that man alone. She took a butt right on up there and married that nigga. He banged her up, looked in her face, and said, see, I can get divorced and marry again. You can't. Ha ha, get out my house. She came back down here thinking that she was going to get some sympathy from me. I said, you stupid. You ain't getting no sympathy from me because I had already told you what was going to happen before it happened. And I was nice about it too. You know what I'm saying? Now you expect me to be, it's okay, baby. No, I'm not comforting you in your stupidity. Now, I wasn't rude. Glover made it worse. You know what I'm saying? Because Glover was laughing at the girl a lot. You know what I'm saying? But not in a disrespectful way. He was just being Glover. You know what I'm talking about? You are. Yeah, you was. Glover was not. You know what I'm saying? That nigga said, you did what? Come on back to Psalm 51, man. Let me get to the main verse while we even here today. Did I finish first? But see, that's how the love get perfected. Let me finish this 1 John 2. The love get perfected because, see, if you love Yahuwah, you're going to love his creation. You know why you're going to love his creation? Because his state, when he see you made in his image, Yahuwah has no desire to destroy the wicked. He has no desire for that. Is that not what Ezekiel 18 says? He takes no pleasure in the death of him that died. So anybody who made it in his image is going to love his creation in the same fashion that Yahuwah loved his creation. But see, a lot of individuals just speak love. They don't live love. You know what I'm saying? They don't actually live it because, again, most people believe love is self-serving. You know what I'm saying? Love, by definition in the scripture, is loyalty and sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? It's selfless. Love, according to the scripture, is I'm checking my brother. Remember, I mentioned y'all that verse that say, rebuke your neighbor, don't suffer sin. If you love somebody and you see they doing something, you're going to say, hey, bro, that's not the way to go. Correct yourself, man. What is you doing? Many times, let me ask y'all this here. How many times have y'all read in this text who were rebuking people before he actually, really went off? See, this is what people think you can do. That you can correct them 10, 15 times and it's supposed to be gentle. You know what I'm talking about? See, after a while, you're going to go off. Some of y'all done did it. Have you checked your children and you were like, hey, son, don't do that. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Now I done got to the 7th time. Now you think I'm somebody to be played with. Now I'm finna part your scalp. I ain't want to part your scalp. I did not start with the intent on parting your scalp. I had no desire to do this. You know what I'm talking about? But now I have to do this because you're going to have to see that it's a consequence for your stupidity. And what does the text tell you? He that is reproved constantly shall be destroyed and without remedy. Nobody shouldn't have to keep correcting you over and over and over again, and you don't think something calamitous is going to happen. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about for grown people, not for children. Grown men think that they can just keep on being stupid and somebody go, I'm not your mama. You know what I'm talking about? See, your mama's a failure. That's why her son is a failure. And see, people like, you shouldn't say that. Say it. You know what I'm saying? I'm dead serious, though. Some of these young men need to hear that. Your mother was a failure. She failed you in life. That's why you are a failure, boy. Your mother failed you. You know what I'm talking about? Now, suck it up, nigga. What you going to do with your life? You going to cry about your mama failing you and you being a failure? Or you going to do something better with your life? Some dudes don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Some people won't do that. I like this here, right? Better a man look you in the face and tell you you're a failure than for Yahuwah to do it. You know what I'm talking about? Because if Yahuwah do it, that don't mean you're going to hell, but you finna get ready for a rough ride. And it might not be a ride you want to go on. You'll be better for it when it's over. You know what I'm talking about? But you might not want to go on that ride. Come be honest with you, man. It's much better for man to check you than for Yahuwah to check you. Because remember what David said. Remember when David was moved to number the people and Yahuwah gave it an option on what punishments he should get? Do you recall what David said? After Yahuwah gave him the options? Who recalls what David said? He said, I can give you famine. I can let you fall in your enemy's hands. Or I can deal with you. David said, don't let the famine fall on the people because it was on me. He said, I don't want to fall in the man's hand because who knows what man going to do. He said, I'd rather fall in Alahym's hand because I know he's merciful. See, you don't want a man to come like this here, boy, because, hey, man, I'm trying to tell you. A man may correct you. He could be harsh. Well, boy, if Yahuwah going to correct you, look here, man. Jeremiah made a statement. He said, correct me in your judgment, not in your anger. You know what I'm talking about? Jeremiah made that statement. Correct me in your judgment, not in your anger. See, if he correct you in his judgment, you know, that's the chastising. You come out better. That man correct you in his anger before you're done. That's what we were talking about when we were dealing with David, about what he did with Bathsheba. He corrected him in his judgment, not his anger. You know what I'm talking about? Because that man correct you in his anger, boy, you're done. He corrected Saul in his anger. Because he said, I gave you a king, and in my wrath, I took him away. See, Saul didn't get corrected in judgment. Which also goes to why the house of David gets continual, perpetual mercy, because he said that I will not take my mercy away from your house like I took it from Saul. Saul's house didn't get perpetual mercy. Only a couple of members of his household Yahuwah spared. The rest of them got taxed. As much as Yahuwah loved Jonathan, because Jonathan loved David, he still let Jonathan die. You know what I'm talking about? Because I'm going to execute this wrath on the house of Saul. I got a problem with your daddy. Now, that don't mean that Jonathan going to hell. I got a problem with your daddy. I don't fool with your daddy. You know what I'm talking about?
You say the same thing
with Solomon? No, he did. He just didn't use it late in life. But see, Solomon was spared before he was even on the throne because Yahuwah had promised to David, I'm not going to take away my mercy from you like I took it from Saul. So the mercy, the sure mercies of David, if you would, the mercy of Yahuwah is with the house of David perpetually. You know what I'm saying? Because he made it, he swore an oath to him on that. So he ain't going to go against his word. You know what I'm saying? That's with the house of David perpetually. That's why when people be like, well, Solomon was this, Solomon good. You know what I'm saying? He was wrong. Yahuwah checked him. You know what I'm talking about? And went about his way. Because if that was the issue, Yahuwah would have killed him. See, that's what dudes be missing on. When Yahuwah done with you, he departs or he kills you. He didn't depart from Solomon and he didn't kill him. You know what I'm talking about? When he was done with Saul, he departed from Saul. And that showed. And then he killed him. You know what I'm talking about? See, a lot of dudes don't even know what it means when Yahuwah leave. When Yahuwah leave, you would rather be dead. Because you are dead. You know what I'm talking about? You alive, but you dead. That's why a lot of these brews just be talking. When Yahuwah is done with you, he's done with you. And he's going to do one or two things. He's going to leave or he's going to kill you. You know what I'm talking about? And that's it. And you can, people like this because brother, they're like, how would you know if Yahuwah with you? Best believe you'll know. Because God knows you're going to know if he ain't. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to show. You're going to be in a perpetual doom, sadness, and despair every day of your life. You seen Saul. That nigga was sad every day. Just despair. He going to answer me, what should I do? You don't even know what to do. You know what I'm talking about? It's just doom and gloom every single solitary day. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you want to kill a man. You walk around here, you know what I'm saying? That ain't the way of the Lord. Somebody who the Lord with, they ain't sitting around here thinking about a man they want to kill every day. The Lord can't be with you if you consume with the thoughts of another man. You know what I'm talking about? If you consume with the thoughts of another man, you possibly a homosexual. Huh? You lead niggas out in caves to kill somebody. You're positive. That's homoerotic. All jokes aside, man, if you spend an inordinate amount of time thinking about another man, number one, you ain't got nothing going on in your life. Let's just let that be. You ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You around here walking around looking for him. He in the dale. He in the cave. He a more righteous man than me. He spared my life. I want to kill him. Something wrong with you. As a man, all this vagina out here in the earth, and you think about another man. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, praise you or shoot. He say real talk. He said, I can feel when I made him just a little angry. I make sure to turn quick and search out my error fully. Trust, you gonna know. You know what I'm talking about? You gonna know.
If you got any kind of love for him, like he said,
You gonna know when he present.
Felt like you gonna try to do that.
Listen, in John, our heart.
Oh, they say if our heart could, that's in 1 John, that's in one of the letters. He said, but if our heart condemn us not, we got confidence towards Alahym. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about it because Saul is a good example, right? Even the scribes and Pharisees, nigga, you borderline gay. You walk around and you think about another man constantly and consistently versus what you need to be doing as a man. Nigga, do you want this man in the wrong way? Is you trying to hug this man in a funny way? Because it ain't right. Oh, I see what you got. Well, who we did your joints, man? Who was up? Oh, you took care of him, Shayla. Now that boy around here, what they call it? He was freeforming it. All jokes aside, that joint help that joint grow. You do something to it. You ain't got to do it every month.
My original salad said every 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, that was something I'm saying. Yeah, some niggas have brittle, can't take all that. Go find yourself somewhere to sit. Oh yeah. Don't do that. We talking about. I'm talking about the other day. Some niggas got a head for a bald head. I ain't one of them. All right, this here, boy. But I hope your junk stay strong.
No, you're right though.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, alternative.
Shoot, nigga, Deion Sanders found an alternative. We ain't white. We can't get away with that. He can get it. Yeah, that nigga, nah, he ain't no more.
But that nigga Tory Lane, he don't got a head for it. I don't know, but he don't got a head for it.
Nah,
He got it.
That nigga head.
Psalm 51:5, man. We ended last night talking about original sin. Do y'all recall what that was? Hey, man. Came into the world with sin, and they can't do nothing but sin. And they get it from this verse right here. Psalms 51:5. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. So let's take a look. Let's get some understanding. First things first, you know what iniquity is. That is a bone. That is perversity, depravity. But see, this is the key thing of the definition, what they don't look at. Consequence or punishment. Guilt of iniquity. Guilt of condition. Do you see how that changes the whole fashion of what that means? When you have shape and you have cool, that means you wait anxiously. You suffer torture. You wait longingly. You are distressed with the consequence or punishment of a condition. Do you see how that changes what that means? Because see, you'll read that I was shapen in iniquity. And you thinking that means you were born into sin when he said you are anxious and in distress based off of guilt of a condition. See, that's what makes that Hebrews 2 strike a little different. Let's take a look. I want to make sure you understand. Hebrews 2 and 9. Hebrews 2 and 9. But we see Yahusha, who was made a little lower than Malachim for the suffering of death. Shalom, man. Crowned with esteem and honor, that he by the mercy of Alahym should taste death for every man. For it became him for whom all things, by whom all things, and bringing many sons unto esteem, to make the captain of the salvation perfect through sufferings. For both he that sanctified and they who are sanctified, all of one. For which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will declare your name unto my brethren, in the midst of the house will I sing praise unto you. And again I will put my trust in him, and behold, I and the sons which Alahym have given me. For as much then as the sons are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. Do you see the correlation between the definition of shaping and iniquity? You are anxiously awaiting a punishment. Do you know why you're anxiously awaiting that punishment? Because of what we've been discussing the last few weeks. Because Adam passed death down to everybody. So you being shapen in iniquity is not you being shapen in the fashion of, you just born to sin. You're shapen in anxiously knowing that one day you are going to die. We still gonna go back to Proverbs 31, 8 and 9, by the way. I ain't forgot about that. Y'all remember this verse in Ecclesiastes? Come over here to Ecclesiastes 9, I believe. Does that make sense when you see the definition of I was shapen in iniquity, what that means? Because every last person in here at one point in their lifetime, before they got the knowledge of Alahym, you had anxiousness. Well, that's what you get. They had anxiousness and distress because of death. Maybe not necessarily, you may have not had distress, but you anxious about it. You got anxiety about it because everybody know one day you gonna do it. I just seen a lady talking about how would you explain death to a child. That's something those are conversations with children that need to be had. Because one day somebody they care and love about is going to die. You know what I'm saying? And you would rather already have a foundation of that conversation set before somebody dies than when they die. Because you don't know how death is going to affect them. Because it affects every niggas. Adults can't handle death. You know what I'm talking about? Let's not just act like it's not no big, it's just a minute thing. Adults can't handle death. I ain't talking about an adult, they child died. You got grown niggas can't deal with their parents dying. And their parents were 70 years old, 80 years old. I know somebody, man, her grandma was 95 years old. This nigga still distressed 3 years later. Straight up and down. I'm talking about these old people. This ain't like grandma died and she was 40. Grandma died and she was 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, you only got a couple years with her. This nigga 100. You still run to my, I sure miss my grandma. Nigga, well, how long did you think she was going to live? Niggas walk around with dead man shirts on, dead man hats, dead man pants. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't walking around with no dead nigga on my shirt. I ain't never been on that before the word. I ain't see the point. Now you got to look down and feel sad by the nigga you miss. You walk around with a dead nigga on your shirt. You walk around with a dead nigga on your shirt to go to a dead nigga house. To go stand at his grave and talk to a dead nigga who can't talk back. Take pictures. Why do niggas post up at the cemetery taking pictures? I don't want to take no pictures out here. Oh, that's funny to you. I understand. You laughing at them or you laughing at me? Oh, you laughing at them? I understand.
No, I'm laughing at you.
But yeah, you gotta think about that, man. Niggas around here taking whole family photos at the cemetery. Nigga go out there, drink, liquor, smoke weed. Niggas sitting down. I done seen niggas lay down next to the gravestone. That nigga rotted flesh in there, boy. Man, I ain't going out there. I ain't going out there, but I don't do none of that. I wasn't on that photo world. I don't do none of that. No, I don't do none of that. That just ain't right.
Pour one out for the homies.
Pour one out for the homies. Guess what? You pulled that out, you might as well drink it, because that nigga ain't got nan, tap, sip, lip, or none of that. That nigga dead. You know what I'm talking about? I know that doesn't sound harsh, but back to the reality of the matter, though. Like, yeah, that's it. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. No, that ain't what I want. Hold on. But all jokes aside, boy, you definitely do got to prepare churn for that. It's Ecclesiastes 8 that I want. 8 and 8. Matter of fact, 8 and 6. Because it's like this here, man. I don't know. Like I said, it was my first experience in death, man. I think I was like 4, 5 years old. Because I can still remember that funeral. Because we went to Louisiana for that.
I don't remember nothing before 7.
I remember that funeral. My great granddaddy died. I remember that. I was there. You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't nothing like, oh, it messed me up. It was like, shoot. These niggas weeping, this nigga dead. All right, this nigga dead. Because I remember my grandma died. Gregory ain't know what was going on. He was too small. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I seen him at the house. I'm like, shoot, that nigga dead. You know what I'm saying? Junk is what it is. Like, hey, that junk ain't messed me up, but shoot, you don't know how that junk can mess with none of your children. Better talk to him. Cause one day you're gonna have to explain to him, what grandma, what auntie, what such and such. That nigga dead. I think be lying to niggas. Oh, he went to work. I done seen people telling, oh, he went overseas. Don't lie to that baby. Because a lot of them do that because, I mean, they just don't know. How am I going to, I don't want to make them upset. It's usually because some people do that when the parent died. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have the heart to explain to them that mama or daddy is not coming back. 8 and 6, Ecclesiastes. Because to every purpose there is time and judgment. Therefore, the misery of man is great upon him. You see how that coming in that? You shape it in iniquity. Boom. We look at everything as time and judgment. Let's break it down. Make it plain. Calm down, son. We're going to look at purpose. You know, that's kafats. That's a delight. That's a pleasure. That's a longing, a desire. So for every desire, every longing, there's a time, which is after you know, and it's a judgment. That's mishpat. Therefore, the misery, which is ra. What is ra? And man, there you got Adam. So you know the misery or the ra or the evil, the disagreeable or the malignant or the sadness or the unhappiness or the calamity or the adversity or the injury of man is great. Remember, you shaking in iniquity, so you have great distress because of the anxiety of a punishment. That's why he said you no longer in subject to bondage by fear of death. There's a longing of death that is coming. For he know not that which he shall be, for who can tell him when it shall be? There's no man that have power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither power in the day of death. There is no discharge in that war, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. I just want to make sure that y'all understand that the passage and discharge here is mish lakaf, that is discharge, sending away. You cannot send away death. So since you can't send away death, you are shaping an iniquity, or you are dealing with the anxiety of a punishment that is coming to you. Let's take a look at it this way. Jeremiah 24. Because we're talking about a clean heart and creating a new one and all the stuff that go along with that. Is 24 what I need? I think 24. No. We don't want to talk about the bad figs. Not the bad figs. Not the bad figs. Hold on. We don't want that. Not the bad figs. We don't want to talk about the bad figs. That's a different conversation. It's 18 that I desire. Jeremiah 18 and 1. Little muffin. Jeremiah 18:1. The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah, saying, arise, go down to the potter's house. Then I will cause you to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house. And behold, he wrought a work on the wheels. Is that why they named their church that? I ain't being funny, I'm being dead serious. They named their church behind us. And the vessel that he made of the city and the land in the hand of the potter, so he made it again another vessel as seemed good to the potter to make. Y'all remember this here? He said he had one vessel, but he made another. The word of Yahuwah came to me saying, O house Yasharal, can I not do with you as this potter saith Yahuwah? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, O house of Yasharal. Now see, we're just going to sit back and pause, because him making another vessel out of that potter pertains to what you see in 1 Corinthians 15. When the first Adam was made out of earth, earthy, and the second Adam was made out of ruach, or heavenly. You understand? So what you have is he made one vessel, and then he made one how he desired to make it. And why did he have to do that? Because the first Adam didn't have any ability to send away death. So therefore, that anxiety that you have for that punishment is still upon your head. That's why that 1 Thessalonians 4 tell us what? He said, we're not without hope as others are. Ain't that what he told you? Is that not what he wrote to them people in Thessalonica? You ain't without hope as these other people to be around here sad and miserable at death. Because he just told you there's a time and a judgment, and the misery upon Adam is great. Oh, who ain't acting right? Oh, what you grinning for? It's a funny matter to you? Oh, now you don't seem as jovial. Because you'd rather me talk to you than your father. He's probably going to pop your butt. I'm going to kick you in the tip of your forehead. But do y'all understand that? Leave that alone. Whatever you messing with, it sound like glass. Leave it alone. I didn't ask you no questions. Why do y'all be so intent to adding on a retort when no one asked you for it? Luckily for y'all were raised in a different time, because at another time you'd probably be slapped in your mouth. Thank the Lord for being born in this generation of non-mouth slappers, except for Lee. Because Lee say, I'm going to stay in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and I'm going to slap these niggas in their mouth. And we ain't mad at you, Lee. Lee say, I'm going to keep it old school on you niggas, man. Callie, you'll slap them niggas in the mouth. She ain't going to slap them. Stanley looking like, I don't believe it. You don't look like a slapper. You know what I'm talking about? Just a quick. Nigga, let's stop playing. Now your mama do. Now I ain't gonna lie, your mama look like a slapper. She look like she catch you. She look like she catch you when you least expect it. Good God. That nigga said that's a bit violent.
It's gonna make you feel it. You gotta feel it.
That's tough. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna move on by that. I didn't think she like it. Oh God. Well,
with him in that house.
Jeez. That's tough. But see, do y'all understand that how that goes back to what's in Psalm 51, right? What we just read Ecclesiastes and what you see in Jeremiah. When you're dealing with being shapen in iniquity, you have distress of a punishment. You have anxiety. Let's look at what Paul told us to do with anxiety. Philippians chapter 4.
Stand up.
Philippians 4:4. Hey, children, I just want you to know that when I would get finished, y'all getting out my house. It's a whole lot of room for you. And don't play in the dirt. You play in the dirt, I got a water hose for you. Oh no. All right, y'all think I'm playing. Philippians 4:4. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Be careful for nothing. That careful translates to be anxious for nothing. But in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Alahym. And the peace of Alahym, which pass all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Mashiach Yahushua. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me do, and the Alahym of Shalom shall be with you. See, that's one of the ways that you have to overcome anxiety that your forefathers did not have. Because remember, we were all shaping to die. You understand? There's no discharge in that war. It's another passage in Ecclesiastes. I think it's Ecclesiastes 7:20. Let's take a look. Ecclesiastes 7:20. Make it 19. Ecclesiastes 7:19. He say, wisdom strengthen the wise more than 10 mighty which are in the city. See, that's a whole nother thing, because wisdom gives strength that most men don't have. See, most men think they wise, but they really jackasses and dummies. You know what I'm saying? And you know how we know this? Because when you move with wisdom, it shows in the things that your life produces. Because again, wisdom is skill in war. So wisdom means that you know how to make good decisions. You know what I'm talking about? Most people don't make good. You know what allows you to make good decisions? Because you don't move off impulse, i.e. you don't move off your flesh. You don't move off of emotion. You know what I'm talking about? Most people in this country get destroyed because they move off of instant gratification. They are seeking to instantly or at any point to be gratified. Most people in this country do not know how to delay gratification. When you don't know how to delay gratification, you set yourself up for many, many sadnesses and many, many miseries and unnecessary tribulation. Give me a second. I gotta take this here, man. Somebody tried to scam me this morning. Yeah, man, nigga, something. I got a text from my Wells Fargo. If we didn't send you this here, tap this link. Hell no, I ain't tapping this link. You know? Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, nigga, I ain't just asked for no doggone code, nigga. You know, I already knew this wasn't right. You know what I'm talking about? Because no, all they're going to try to do is get you to log in your junk. Once you log in your junk, thinking to try to, because number one, if they send you one and asking you, is this you, they ain't going to send you to your app or to the website to log in. They ain't going to ask you to do that. Matter of fact, truth be told, they're going to call you. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I know, boy, anytime it was they thought it was some suspicious activity, them niggas sent me an email or they called me. You know what I'm talking about? Like, hey man, this you? Give us a call. Your card locked. I was like, well, the nigga all I ever did was paying the bill, but I appreciate you. I done had that happen paying the bill. Boy, I paid like 3 of them back to back. Them niggas locked that whole up. And they say 5 bands. They got their money back. That's ugly. Prayerfully, she get that back. That's ugly.
What she did was, I think she bought something online boutique, and they probably scammed it as well. They ended up calling her. They did the same thing in text message. They called her like a code. Gave them the code over the phone. They told her, do not log in for the rest of the day. Get some activity. Swipe them all that.
I'm already suspicious once you tell me don't log in. Don't log in? Let me call my bank. You know what I'm talking about? Let me call my bank right now. Cancel that call. But I got a call that said like Wells Fargo, if you ain't asked for this code, tap this link. I say, shoot, nigga, I just was laying in the bed. So no sir. No sir. You won't get my username and password and go to the terminal pulling some junk up out of here. I work too damn hard. They call it phishing. That's what they call it. Hey, them niggas out here, man, these poor. No, say scamming way better than selling drugs these days. Yeah, fishing, violence, all the same. You know what I'm saying? They around here fishing for a jackass. You threw your bait in the wrong fishing pond. Now, both people get got because they don't be paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they make it look legit. Oh, yeah. Because they ain't really know. They ain't paying attention. Ecclesiastes 7:20. He says, there is not a just man upon the earth that do good and sin not. Listen also, he said, also take no heed unto all words that are spoken, lest you hear your servant curse you. For all this what he say, for oftentimes you also your own heart know that yourself likewise curse others. All this have I proved by wisdom. I said I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which is afar off and exceeding deep, who can find it out? But you see how he said there's nobody that sin, that do good and sin not. That means everybody is anticipating death. That's why those men walked off and he said, he that's without sin, cast the first stone. Everybody is anxiously awaiting the punishment. What is the punishment? We ain't talking about no other punishment for murder or none of that. Once Adam sinned, death was in the world, and that is the punishment. And everybody that's born into the world is going to die. Everybody is going to die. That's what it means when it says, behold, I was shapen in iniquity. Let's go back to Psalms 51. Let's look at the other half of that passage. And in sin did my mother conceive me. So we have sin, which you know is caught. I feel you. Sin, guilt for sin, punishment for sin. Hey, boy, get your butt up, boy. Get up. Get on up. Walk your happy butt over here. What you looking crazy for? When you look at conceive, it is yakam. It is to conceive sexually. So, how would y'all explain scripturally? And in sin did my mother conceive me. How would you explain it? How would you explain it? Could you explain it? If you can't explain it, that's fine. But if you think you can explain it, share with me how you would do so. In sin did my mother conceive me. In sin, do y'all understand the first half? Does everybody in the chat understand the first half? Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and what that means, what that actually means. Oh, you were out the room. You were breathing in my baby.
You said that means everybody's anxiously waiting for death.
I'm just messing with you. Yes, that's what that first half means.
What was that?
Again, you missed out again.
You said
You know you
that Dwayne said that means we're.
Oh, I didn't say it.
Oh,
I didn't say it. We just read the definition of the words.
scriptures bear witness to what Dwayne said. And he said that we all are anxiously waiting for death.
Which is what you said.
That we're shaking in iniquity.
Iniquity means, by definition, guilt of punishment. Shaping means the anxiety. So you are anxiously waiting a punishment.
That
Adam brought. We read Ecclesiastes 8. What did it say? The misery of man is great upon him. He has no discharge in the war against death, because there's a purpose and a time and a punishment, or time and judgment. There's a time that Adam is going to die. That's what it means. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity. You were anxious for death. Don't mean you were born in your mama's womb. I was born to be perverse because I was born. No, pure folly and foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Because remember what did we start out on Wednesday? When David was corrected, what did Nathan tell him? Yahuwah said, you have not died. He put your sin away. Because David know he's supposed to die. That's the biggest punishment is death. And everybody gonna die. But how would you explain, in sin did my mother conceive me? Does anybody have any idea? How would you explain it? Any of you brothers on the chat, how would you explain it? No, that's not. Why would her being in travail giving birth be that? I'm asking you to explain.
Nah, just because that's the curse of wood, like the curse of animals, the curse of man was death, and the woman was,
Childbirth, but he said your mother conceived me in sin.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely give me most people.
That's the Marty Act, brother. That's the act.
I was gonna explain it. I said like how the Lord was born in Jerusalem, and that was his mother. And when he was born, he had to
Come on, take a look, man. You supposed to already know you got to come on to the beginning. We got to go to the beginning. Genesis chapter 3. Oh, no, not sex outside of marriage. No. We got to go to the beginning. Genesis 3, verse 6. You tried to slide something in there that might have worked, but you were thrown off with the conceive, huh? You were stuck. He wasn't ready, you know what I'm saying? He had nothing to give. That joke didn't work for me. You need a better writer. You write his material.
Definitely, much worse.
Woo! So you ain't got no sense of humor. She sounds offended. She said she finna go back and write 15 jokes tonight. Who in here doing all that? Come here, little girl. Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes, the tree desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together to make themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahuwah, Alahym, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahuwah, Alahym, amongst the trees of the garden. Boom, boom, boom. Now you try to put in the part in the curse, but it's the part that you want. Drop on down to verse 20. You tried to go further on down the line. We don't even need to go further on down the line. We got to start here at the beginning first to see how, because you had to take this part to tie it into why you anxious for death in the first place. You know what I'm talking about? And what does he say right here in verse 20? Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. You know what I'm talking about? And because of what they did in verse 6, in sin did your mother conceive you, because once they sinned, now she has conceived and brought forth children in the midst of said sin, which is why you are shaping in iniquity or anxious because of death in the first place. You know what I'm saying? No, because she's called the mother of all living. But see, you have to deal with the fact of how did they conceive you in the sin? When they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Then she gives birth. Now you are conceived in sin. Not the curse of pain and childbirth. Because the conceive ain't got nothing to do with the birth. It said you were conceived. You know what I'm saying? The conception of the sin or the punishment of said sin was conceived the moment they ate from the fruit of that said tree. And because she is the mother of all living, therefore she has passed that now down to her offspring. And that's why you are shaping in iniquity or anxious because of the punishment of guilt of the sin that they conceived you in. Does that make sense? Does that make sense for all of you on here? So you see, the doctrine of original sin is pure unadulterated folly. Pure unadulterated folly. See, people just see, but see, this is right. A stupid man. Remember what we read in Psalm? He can't understand these things. And you know why he can't understand these things? Because what did we read in 1 Corinthians 2? We compare spiritual things with spiritual, which the ruach HaKadosh teach, not what man's wisdom teach. What we read about that original sin, that's man's wisdom. Because they don't have the understanding that comes from on high to be able to say, this is what this means. It also goes to show why you just need to sometimes look and see what words mean. Because when you see shaping and iniquity, you see shaping, you automatically think form. That's what shaping is. You see iniquity, that's lawlessness. But then you look at a definition, you have anxiety for punishment. You know what I'm talking about? We're anxious for, and what was David anxious about? His punishment. The punishment. Because of what he had done. Remember, Psalms 51 is what David wrote after what happened with Bathsheba. This is what he writes after that. This is a message of penance, if you will, for David's actions with Bathsheba. Right here say Psalms. They got on here the penitence psalm, but to the chief musician, a psalm of David when Nathan the prophet came unto him after he had gone into Bathsheba. So Psalms 51 is what is written in response to what you read in 1 Samuel or 2 Samuel 13. Or whichever chapter it is, I might be wrong on the chapter. But either way, we read it when we started out on Wednesday. What after he did with Uriah the Hittite, and Nathan came and stepped to him, and he told him, he said, the man who did that, he should die. And what did Nathan say? That man is you. You know what I'm saying? And this is what he wrote in regards to that. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about that. Does that make sense? Let's come back to Psalm 51. Let's look at verse 6. I just want to make sure everybody on here understand. Big time and Brother Reynolds so that they understand. I want to make sure everybody understands. Because I know we done talked about it before, but it's been a long time. Because like I think Alicia put that in the chat yesterday. A lot of people go to Psalms 51 for a multitude of reasons. You know what I'm saying? Since I ain't never deal with no word, Psalm 51 wasn't nothing. When I started dealing with the word, I didn't say, let me read this for comfort. I just read everything, period. That's not knocking nobody for doing that, because you're not wrong. What does the text tell you for? The things are written aforetime was written for our learning, and that through the scriptures that you might have hope and have comfort. Please let that be known that there ain't nothing wrong with reading nothing for no comfort. If anybody tell you that, that's a foolish man. You know what I'm saying? If somebody tell you shouldn't read the word for comfort, you need to depart from that person. You know what I'm talking about? If somebody tell you that you shouldn't do anything related to Yahuwah, if you need comfort, you need to depart from that person. That person is a jackass. You know what I'm talking about? If you saying you feeling down and you open up the text because you seeking some comfort, you did the right thing. It's only three other things you can do besides that. That's fast, that's pray, or that's get with a group of believers and pray together. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that deep. You know what I'm saying? As for not doing, you feeling down and the scripture give you hope, shoot, you better pop them open. You know what I'm saying? And if you ain't in a position to read it, then you better think upon some word that you know and meditate it in your heart. You better do something. That's what I recommend. But don't let nobody tell you that you shouldn't read no scripture for no comfort. That nigga is a fool. Don't let nobody tell you that you shouldn't pray for comfort. That person is a fool. Don't let nobody tell you you shouldn't call others to pray with you and for you. That person is a fool. Don't let nobody tell you that you shouldn't fast for comfort. That person is a fool. You know what I'm talking about? I want to let them know, Saran. Like I said, that person is a fool. Don't let nobody tell you that, man. That's somebody that's trying to disconnect you from Yahuwah. Don't let nobody do that. Only the devil seek to disconnect. Anybody that's Alahym gonna seek to make sure you be connected to the source. What did we read in Peter last night? That your hope might be in who? Alahym. That's where your hope got to be set at. See, a lot of these dudes want your hope to be in them. That's why they don't like to preach the gospel, because then your focus got to be on Yahuwah. It's got to be on Yahuwah. We focus on the Israelite, this or that, then your focus is on you. But if you preaching the gospel, the focus of when I say the focus got to be on Yahuwah, the people, they got to focus on him, because that's who you talking about. That's who you giving to them. They ain't going to have no choice but to rely on him. They ain't going to have no choice but to understand that your expectation of reward come from him. That's right. So Ron did put that in there. He said, comfort one another with these words. What's in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Because that's what he said. When he was telling you, because he was running down verses Paul wrote in 1 Thessalonians 4, when he was talking about that resurrection of the dead. The dead of Mashiach shall rise first. You got Isaiah 26. You know what I'm talking about? At the last trump, Isaiah 26 again, or 27, excuse me. That's where you're supposed to get comfort. Because what is comfort? That's to console. Well, why would you need some consoling? Because you might have a little anxiety or distress. That's why we read the Philippians chapter 4. He said, don't be careful in nothing, but to think on what? These things, that which is pure, that which is just, that which is true. You think upon Yahuwah, that's what helps takes away the anxiety. Which takes us back to, you know what? Isaiah 26. You say, he's mine who stayed on you, trusting you. He keep him in perfect peace, who mind has stayed on you. For he trusts in you, for trusting Yahuwah. For trusting Yahuwah is everlasting strength. Psalm 51. You probably end with this verse right here, man. So that's a whole nother conversation in itself. I might have to start spinning these verses together versus taking them separately, because it's a lot. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden you shall make me to know wisdom. So, of course, you're dealing with truth, you got a mind. So what does he desire for you to be? To be firm, to be faithful, to be reliable. Also truth as a testimony, judgment, divine instruction, true doctrine. So what does he desire? For you to be faithful, to be reliable in your inward parts. What did Yahushua tell you? He that is faithful over little is faithful over much. Now, what is your inward parts? Your inward parts is tukah, tet, Kot, hey, inner regions, hidden recesses, inward parts. Also dealing with the kidneys, which you know, kidneys is always symbolic of your seat of your emotions. We ain't did it, don't do it as much, but what you can give me for tet, Kot, and hey is tukah. That's your inward parts. Tet, Kot, and hey. That's what he desired truth in your inner recesses. Also taking about, if you know the kidneys mentioned the seat of emotions, that way he tell you in Galatians 5 that those that are Mashiachs have crucified their affections and lusts. We've crucified those kidneys or that seat of emotion so that that truth can actually rest in your inward parts. Because one thing I can tell you that I done seen in 13 years, you got more niggas who'll tell you how to live the word who don't walk in it than those who walk in it. You ever never noticed that it's niggas who don't actually believe and follow? I'm talking about niggas who say they in the word, who don't believe and follow it, who got the most to say.
I say, you don't say the city of emotion, like you say, you gotta crucify it. I gotta do the snake.
You got tet, cotton, hay.
Separate. I say separate.
So you take that tet, right? You got your what? You got your little snake. You know what I'm saying? So you take that snake, and guess what? Take that hay. That man with raised arms that separated you from the snake. Now you can actually become faithful. For that word to actually rest in your inward part. That go your Jeremiah 31, one more again. Because what does Jeremiah 31 say? Same thing that Hebrews 8 say. Same thing that Ezekiel say. Because Ezekiel say, come to Ezekiel 11. which goes back to what we were talking about last night. Because what did he say we read in Luke 5 last night? He said, you got to put new wine in a new bottle. Hey, boy, stop running in here. You know what happened to you last time. Would you like a repeat? Yeah, you do. You do. I'm going to catch you slipping. I'm going to catch you. And when I do, it's me and you. That was just disgusting on your part. Ezekiel 11 and 15. Saran got surrounded and protected by the man with raised arms, and that is allowable. I'm not talking to you. Is your name Saran? All right then. Son of Adam, your brethren, even your brethren, the men of your kindred, and all the house of Yasharal holy, are they unto whom the inhabitants of Jerusalem have said, get you far from Yahuwah? Unto us is the land given in possession. Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, although I have cast them far from among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet I will be to them a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. And there goes your surrounded and protection by the man with raised arms. Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, I will gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Yasharal. And they shall come hither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new ruach within you, and take the stony heart out of their flesh, and will give them a heart of flesh, that they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Alahym. But whose heart walk after the heart of their detestable things and their abominations, I will recompense their way upon their own head, saith Yahuwah Alahym. See, that's another point. I think it's Jeremiah 25. I think it's Jeremiah 25. Oh, that's what it is. And I'm doing that one there because he said he'll give you one heart to serve you in Ezekiel. And this Jeremiah came to my mind. No, Jeremiah 32, what a deal. (32 and 38). Oh, I think about something else. And they shall be my people. This is Jeremiah 32 and 38. And I will be their Alahym. And I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and for their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will turn not away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, that they shall not depart from me. Notice, if he put his fear in your heart, that's again his truth. Just focus on the aspect of him putting his word in your inward parts, because that's what he desires. Because when you're looking at truth, what is truth going to be synonymous with? With faith. And that's what he desires to be in a man's inner recesses or in his heart. Because without faith, it's impossible to please him. This is where he desires truth. Then he say he'll put wisdom or the skill in your inward parts. See, we'll deal with that at another time. But do you understand that part? First and foremost, do you understand how the doctrine of original sin is pure and utter folly? Do you understand what the text is actually saying in regards to it? All of these things are leading us up to the verse that the videos is named after, which is created me a clean heart. All these things have to be done in order for you. Do you not notice if you go back to Psalm 51, right? And we're just talking about the verses that's leading us up to the create a clean heart. The things that it would take for that to be done. Look at the first thing that's asked. The first thing David asked is for his sins to be forgiven. The next thing he asks is to be washed. The next thing that's mentioned is that I will confess them. The next thing he mentions is that I've only done this against you. The next thing that he mentions is I am in anxiety because of death, because I was fashioned into death by the sins of my forefathers, Adam and Eve. I know that you desire for me to be faithful in my hidden parts. And then in my inward parts, you'll give me skill in how to obey you. Then he come and say, could you clean me that I can be clean so that I can hear your joy? Then can you hide your face from my iniquities? Then can I be made new? Because when you got that new clean, renew, you know that's Kadash. And you know what that means. That's to make new. You know what I'm talking about? Which is giving you an element of being born again, which is being actually stated, and the remorse or repentance that an individual has to have for Yahuwah to even accept you in the first place. But we'll say hallelujah for Yahushua right now. And praise be to Alahym in the name of Yahushua. Indeed, Saran put on there the worship and ruach and truth, which is what he's desiring. You know what I'm talking about? I appreciate y'all time to see the man. Bless y'all at the house of Alahym in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yahuwah willing, man, we'll pick it up. Also, you know, the new year done slid in. You know what I'm talking about? So let that be known. You know? So prayerfully. Usually when Passover come around, Yahuwah willing to give us something to set the tone for that calendar year. You know what I'm talking about? By the grace of Alahym, we'll see what the beginning message of the year as far as Passover is concerned with it be set to set the tone for how we gonna run for the rest of the year. So I bless y'all again out of the house of Alahym in the name of Yahushua. I appreciate y'all, love y'all. Yahuwah willing to the next one. Hey, get your shoes on, get out my house. Don't run in my house, walk.